So here we are in Belgium now. You can see it's right on the outskirts of Germany and Luxembourg, and the outer edges constitute the Ardennes forest area where the German counteroffensive known as the Battle of Bulge took place. And that was their last gasp attempt to try and stall the Allied invasion and cut the Allied forces in half, north-south. But in mid-late December, the world was watching Bastogne, this crossroads town. Very small town, but you can see the roads leading in and out made it a strategic position of defense. And the 101st Airborne and 10th Armored held the town of Bastogne through some pretty stiff German attacks. This is the town square right here. Nice little town, and right in the square there is actually a Sherman tank, which was part of the action in this area. You can see this is a bit of an older tank. It has the flat sides to it, and one of the hazards of the flat sides was that the shells coming in would hit and go right through, and they modified that later on. Memorial on the other side here, that's McAuliffe, the acting commander of the Airborne during the siege. A memorial to Patton on the outskirts of town here. Patton's a popular guy in this area. And these are the barracks, still in Bastogne. This is what they look like back during the siege. The headquarters of McAuliffe and the 101st Airborne. This is the actual location where he issued the famous response to the German commander who asked for his surrender. His reply was nuts, and that's memorialized all over town. This is his actual command post in the basement here, a recreation of his office and communications room, just basically a brick building, still in use today by the Belgian army. This scene here recreates their Christmas dinner. All the mannequins recreate a famous photo. Here's the Bois Jacques, or Jacques Woods, the outskirts of the positions that were occupied by Easy Company and others in defense of the town of Bastogne. Memorial here in the outskirts, right next to the road, remembering some of the guys that were lost from the 101st during this siege. If you know the movie, you've seen how horrible it was. This is the actual woods themselves. Planted trees and foxholes still around. Some are recreated and dug out a bit, but they're all over the place. And memorials exist as well. Now we're going to hear from our guide, talk a little bit more about the occupation.
Then you have foxholes everywhere, but these ones are the most visited because easy access along the road and because occupied by the Easy Company, of course. But have been occupied not only by the Easy Company, because there was a kind of rotation. And I have guided a lot of veterans who were exactly in the same foxholes. All of them have a common memory. They were starving and they were freezing. That's all they can remember of their holiday in the Ardennes. Starving, Bastogne is in that direction. And it was very difficult to resupply the front line. They could come only with light vehicles, jeeps and so on. They had almost never a hot meal. They were very lucky when they had a K ration, and very often they had absolutely nothing. They were starving. And three of them, and they were back a few years ago, they explained their experience here. They were starving, and with the permission of their squad leader, they went to Foy. Foy is in that direction. Foy was occupied by the Germans, but they took a chance to try to find something to eat. And they found all bread, potatoes, on their way back to the position. One of them was killed by a German machine gun. Years later, reunion in the States, the killed man was present. The Germans had found him, had taken care of him, and he survived. A happy end at war. Freezing, that you understand, of course. In December and January, it's colder, and many of them were under-equipped. You remember the 101st, they were in Reims, in a French barracks there. When they were alerted, some of them thought it was a limited operation around Reims, and they left part of their equipment in the French barracks. When they arrived here, they were under-equipped, had no coats, some of them, and many of them, coincidence, were from Florida. They discovered snow for the first time near the Ardennes.
So the woods themselves most people say they look quite a bit like they did back then. Obviously the trees are new. This is the vantage point looking down to the town of Foy. It's obscured by fog there, but that's the open stretch of ground that the Easy Company attacked across. It's bigger than it looks like in the movie. It's about a kilometer in length. This is the German cemetery on the outskirts of Foy, right near Bastogne. Mass graves here for these guys. They buried them 3 at a time. And not really much maintenance of that cemetery, unfortunately. This is the Allied cemetery near Bastogne, and as you might imagine, a much larger memorial. This is in the shape of a giant star, as seen from above. It remembers all the Allied sacrifices and troops that fought in the Battle of the Bulge, which was largely an American versus German engagement. So all the different divisions that participated are remembered here. And down below in the cemetery, there's a nice chapel, interfaith chapel, remembering all the sacrifice of the troops that died during the Battle of the Bulge.